at Coventry Village on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
And good evening, and welcome to the Kester's Postgame Show, powered by Pizza Hut. I'm Adam Lundy, coming to you live from the mic at our 1380 The Fan studio. Earlier on our airwaves, you heard a game between the Carroll Chargers and the Homestead Spartans. It was our Midwest Box Breaks high school football game of the week, and it was a dominant win for the Carroll Chargers. It was all Carroll Chargers all throughout the entire game, and it ended up being a final score of 49-0. So quite a dominant performance from the Carroll Chargers, quite a statement win over the Homestead Spartans, and Carroll is now one of those teams that's now at the top of the SAC standings. I'm going to go ahead and invite everybody listening, if you are able to come and check us out on our YouTube stream. We're at youtube.com/1380thefan. Of course, you can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/1380thefan. Or we invite you, if you're driving, we invite you to stay safe and just keep us tuned in right here on your radio dial, 1380 AM, 100.9 FM. If you want to send us any texts or comments, again, you can comment on the YouTube stream, the Facebook. We'll see those comments. Or if you want to send in a text, you can text. Our text line is 260-447-8500. But yeah, like I said, it was a lopsided game in our Midwest Box Breaks game of the week tonight between Carroll and Homestead. Carroll gets the win over Homestead 49-0. A lot to break down from that one-sided victory, and it did end up being a running clock. So that game ended a little bit early, so a lot of finals from in and around the area still starting to pour in. But what I'm going to go ahead and do here is go ahead and give you our first H&K Chevrolet of New Haven high school football scoreboard with all the final scores that I do have for you so far. Starting off in the SAC tonight, Concordia gets an SAC win over the Wayne Generals tonight, 21-20. In the Battle of the Bishops, it was Bishop Dwenger getting the win over Lewis tonight, 27-7. And in our Midwest Box Breaks game of the week, which you heard right here, it was Carroll getting the win over the Homestead Spartans, 49-0, winning big. Northeast State won final so far. DeKalb got the win over Norwell, shutting out the Knights tonight, 42-0. Nearly a full finished slate in the ACAC tonight. Adams Central got the win over Southern Wells, 48-7. Bluffton shut out Heritage, 35-0. South Adams with a 42-16 win over Jay County. Moving on to the Northeast Corner Conference tonight, Churubusco won big over Central Noble tonight, 62-3. And Eastside got the win over Fremont tonight, 42-13. And that's a look at all of our final scores that I have so far on the H&K Chevrolet of New Haven scoreboard. I'm going to go ahead and bring in I'm going to call him my partner in crime. You know what? Normally when we end up together, he's my partner in crime here on these streams. It's Eric Dutukevich, and he is actually out at the Pizza Hut up on DuPont in the Pine Valley Shopping Center. So if you are up in that area, if you're coming from a game out there, definitely go ahead and check out Dude. Say hi up there at the Pizza Hut. And if you're not up in that area but still want to get some pizza, definitely recommend checking out Pizza Hut. You can always just download the Pizza Hut app, find the nearest restaurant to you. If you're out at a game or if you're just driving around, you can punch in that order on the app, get that in. And I want to remind you guys that the Pizza Hut now has the new big dinner box. It's just $19.99, and it comes with, get this, it comes with 2 medium one-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. What a deal for $19.99. That can feed almost an entire football team for an unbeatable price. So definitely check that out. Check out your local Pizza Hut. Dude, my man.
Hello.
Wow. How you doing? My voice is shot. I've been screaming a lot.
I'm telling you, I'm getting there too. We did the pregame show. This is the first time here on the Kester's postgame show powered by Pizza Hut. I'm out at the Pine Valley. I was almost looking up like basketball scores, and I was gonna like is it time for the sectional draw yet? And no, but wow, what a game tonight out at Carroll Stadium at the Gorsuch Athletic Complex. Our 1380 game of the week presented by Midwest Box Breaks. Man, Carroll just took it to Homestead. That game was over like halfway through the first quarter. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, 28-0, 3 offensive touchdowns, a pick 6 for Carroll, and it was all Carroll all night long.
Yeah, no question. It was all Carroll, and now Carroll has one of the better records here at the top of the SAC, and just how I guess, how would you quantify how dominant and how much of a statement was this made by the Carroll Chargers tonight, and where they think they belong in the SAC?
Well, it was a statement in several ways. First of all, you take it to Homestead. That's your rival in the SAC. Longtime rivals back to the NEH days. The new kids on the block, even though 10 years is no longer new. I guess we probably could say that they're no longer the new kids. But yeah, they've been in this conference for 10 years. That's number one. And number two, the conference implications. And we'll be talking about a lot of these implications for a lot of these games, particularly in the SAC all night long. But both these teams, Homestead and Carroll, were first place tonight in the SAC, battling it out, both sitting at 3-1 in the conference. And the way that Carroll took it to Homestead tonight was a huge showing for them, because it not only did they knock Homestead out of one of the first place spots and hold on to that, but the way that they did it. I mean, we have to keep in mind Homestead beat Snyder 38-0 a week ago. Running clock. First time Snyder had ever been in a running clock scenario on the losing side of things. So what we saw out there at Carroll tonight was big. I think there will be some questions, and we'll talk about that as the show goes on tonight, with some of the health of some of the players and some of the injuries that we saw towards the end of the night. Long term, what maybe not long term, but that impact of that. So realistically, a huge win for for Carroll tonight. Anytime you can beat Homestead, anytime you can beat your rival, and anytime you can maintain first place in the SAC, and there are others, it's a good night to be a Carroll Charger.
You said it. I have two more finals that have come across my desk. Northrop, the Bruins, defeat their rivals, the Snyder Panthers, at Spooler Stadium by a score of 35
That's
to
huge,
14.
Adam.
It is huge.
That's huge. We're both Snyder grads, and first time since 1999 sectional semifinal that the Northrop Bruins have beaten the Snyder Panthers. 28-game losing streak to Snyder over. Of course, tonight was the last home game in the regular season variety for the Snyder Panthers. But Northrop, wow, what a year it's been. And regardless of what a year, the fact that you finally get over the hump and beat Northrop or Snyder. And by the way, regular season wise, that is the first time since September 28th, 1990. So over 35 years since Northrop has beaten Snyder in the regular season. So congratulations to the Northrop Bruins. I tip my hat to you. I remember when I was in middle school when Northrop last beat Snyder, and it was a big deal because it had been so long since it had happened. It had been 9 years, and it happened at the sectional. Snyder had won in the regular season that year, and they matched up. And it, like, even at Blackhawk Middle School, it was kind of like a cloud hanging over athletics, because it was like, wow, Snyder lost to Northrop. So it is a huge deal. And it may even be a bigger deal to Snyder people, to be honest with you, when push comes to shove. But we will give Northrop their flowers tonight. A huge win. Congratulations to them. Quentin Bowen, the head coach, a Snyder grad himself, as the head coach, doing something that guys like Jason Dorfler were never able to do. John Reed, Tim Martone, Ernie Bodrab, Matt Stinson was never able.
Oh, we might have lost
his names.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So a big night for the Northrop Bruins. One of the about that, Adam, is this the year? And credit to the guy who saw me at the Rod Woodson camp this year and said, "Hey, I think this is the year." I didn't believe him, and he was right. I don't even know his name. I wish I did so I could give him a shout out, but I'll give him that way. So, but a big night for Northrop, big night for Carroll. And Dwenger, how about Dwenger beating Lures? So they're also, so Northrop still in first place, Carroll still in first place. Those two teams play each other next week, and Dwenger now still in first place.
Yep, still a log jam. I mean, we narrowed it down from 4 to 3, but there's still 3 at the top of the A division of the Summit Athletic Conference, and a lot more to talk about. We're going to go ahead and take our first break here on our Kester's High School Football Postgame Show powered by Pizza Hut. Again, I'm Adam. I'm coming to you from the mic here at our 1380 The Fan Studios. Our guy Eric Dukevich is out at the Pizza Hut on DuPont in Pine Valley Shopping Center. So come on out and stop by, say hi to Dude if you're in the area. If not, keep it tuned right here. We'll be back with more. We'll be breaking down more scores, more conference standings, and get more finals as they continue to roll in from in and around the area. Maybe even talk to a winning coach from one of tonight's games as well. All that and more is coming up next. You're listening to the Kester's Postgame Show powered by Pizza Hut on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Do you remember the good old days
Adam Lundy coming back to you live here. I'm at the mic. Eric Dudkevich is at the Pizza Hut on DuPont up in the Pine Valley Shopping Center. So if you're up in that area, be sure to stop by that Pizza Hut and say hi to Dude and tell him your thoughts on any of tonight's games from Friday Night Football. Or if you want to comment on the stream, we're on YouTube at youtube.com/1380thefan. If you have any comments from tonight's games, any thoughts, any players you want to highlight, any plays you want to talk about, we want to hear about them. So let us know on our stream at youtube.com/1380thefan or at Facebook, facebook.com/1380thefan. You can also text into the show at 260-447-8500. I have an updated H&K Chevrolet of New Haven High School football scoreboard for you tonight on this evening of October 3rd. The SAC, all games have now gone final. We're going to start off where Concordia got a 1-point win over the Wayne Generals, 21-20. In the Battle of the Bishops between Bishop Dwenger and Bishop Lures, it was Dwenger getting the win over Lures tonight, 27-7. Northside got the win over Southside tonight, 28-13. Northrop defeated Snyder at Spooler Stadium by a score of 35-14. And in our Midwest Box Breaks high school football game of the week, which you heard right here, it was the Carroll Chargers in a dominant shutout win over the Homestead Spartans, 49-0. Moving on to the Northeast 8 Conference tonight, it was East Noble getting a win over Columbia City by a score of 41-10. Leo took all they could from Huntington North, but pull away with the win, a 35-28 over Huntington North. New Haven at Belmont has yet to go final, but New Haven does lead by a sizable amount. We'll keep you updated on that final score when it rolls in. And one more in the Northeast 8, DeKalb got the win over Norwell, shutting them out tonight by a score of 42-0. Moving on to the Allen County Athletic Conference tonight, it was Adams Central defeating Southern Wells by a score of 48-7. Bluffton shut out Heritage tonight, 35-0. South Adams, the Starfires get a win over Jay County tonight, 42-16. And a non-conference game, it was Woodland getting the win over Prairie Heights tonight by a score of 30-6. One more non-conference game, it was Andrean coming into Northeast Corner Conference School Angola. Andrean gets the win over the Angola Hornets tonight, 35-7. Churubusco got a big win over Central Noble tonight by a score of 62-3. With the win, Churubusco is now Northeast Corner Conference small school champions for the year, so congratulations to Churubusco. Eastside got the win over Fremont tonight by a score of 42-13, and it was West Noble over Lakeland by a score of 34-7. And with that win, West Noble is the Northeast Corner Conference Big School champions. So now that I've gone through our H&K Chevrolet of New Haven High School football scoreboard, I'm going to bring in my partner Dude back in. And Dude, do any of those scores jump off the page to you immediately, either just for the score itself or what it means?
Well, I think, Homestead and Carroll's game, Carroll winning 49-0. I mean, I know both of those teams could score, but Homestead wasn't there tonight, and so Carroll, a big night for them, and what they were able to do. Just looking at some of the stat lines, Gabe Freisinger, 12 for 18, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jaden Van Pelt caught one of those and had 166 yards, 95 yards for Mason Bauman. And then, of course, I think, too, the running game for Carroll tonight, Ashton Wagner, 2 red zone touchdowns runs tonight, and just other people, Henry Scholl, Lincoln Grabner, big ones. 35-0 after one. I mean, you could have had a running clock at the start of the second quarter, basically, for Carroll tonight. It was that dominant of a win. We did see potential injury for Jaden Van Pelt later on in that game, and we'll have to wait to see what that happens. Certainly don't want to try to guess here, but ultimately a big night for Carroll as they win 6 straight now over Homestead and maintain their first place lead. And of course, the NECC 2 champions crown tonight. We always like to see the champions crown. Busco goes back to back in the small division with their big win, and West Noble gets the big school win over Lakeland, and they're the big school champions, both sitting at 4-0. So where NECC goes, they only count the in-division games. So 4-0 wins you a conference championship in the NECC. So I'll let people decide at home if they think that's that counts or not. But anyway, it does count, but pretty cool. So yeah, that one in. I think DeKalb continuing to roll. I mean, 42-0, just what they've been able to do. And the Leo Huntington North score. You just mentioned it, 35. Leo wins 35-28. Huntington North hanging around there. A pesky Vikings team down there along US 24, a big game down there tonight. We'll see if we can find some stats on that to see how that one shook out. But Leo trying to stay close to see if East Noble falls. And East Noble, dominant win over Columbia City again. So really strong showing for the Knights again tonight. So and hey, congrats to Concordia.
Yeah.
Concordia gets the win. That snaps a 14-game losing streak. 20 straight losses in the SAC snapped tonight with the win out at Wayne Stadium. Congrats to Concordia. That 20 wins, 20 losses in a row. I mean, you think about it. You're guaranteed 10 games in a season. So it's almost been two full seasons since Concordia has won a game. And keep in mind, 10 years ago, this was a state champion team. So good to see them get back on the winning track with their big win over Wayne. Wayne continues to struggle, but first-year head coach Darian White, and they'll get things going later. But so that's a big one. Did we get the totem pole score game there, Adam?
Yes, we
From
did.
North side, South side. How'd that shape out tonight?
It was Northside emerging as the winners over Southside tonight, 28-13. Northside gets the win.
Okay, so that so Northside keeps the totem pole for an 8th straight year now. So it'll be out on East State Boulevard for another year there next to Baihei Arena at Northside. A big win, and for them, what they were able to do tonight, keeping, and Northside is another one this year that even though they've taken 2 losses, a surprise in the sense that you bring in a new quarterback at Jaden Rivers. He transfers in from Warren Central, and 1,800 yards, 19 touchdowns, 2 picks coming into tonight. Looking it up right now, he finishes 16 for 23, 200 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing. So if my math is correct, 1,800 plus 202, he's now cracked 2,000 yards passing already through 7 games. Wow. Malik Moore, 7 receptions for 100 yards. A big night. Caleb Kingley, 151 yards. So they were getting it all done all over the field tonight, were the Northside Legends, as they retain the totem pole. 74th totem pole game tonight there, Adam, out at Weicker Stadium at Southside. First started in 1950, but this is also the 99th regular season meeting between Northside and Southside. 103rd time they played. They played 4 times in sectionals as well. So next year will be the 100th regular season meeting and the 75th totem pole. So it's cool to see that history too, because Northside and Southside, 2 of the older schools in our area, and the rivalry, one of the longest in the state of Indiana. And no matter the records, that's always a big game. And I think it showed tonight with the Northside Legends prevailing over the Southside Archers.
Yeah, always appreciate your take on the scoreboard and some of these scores from tonight, dude. I want to go back to our Midwest Box Breaks game of the week between Carroll and Homestead, which was, just again a shutout win for the Carroll Chargers, 49-0 over Homestead. And you mentioned it yourself. You said that both of these teams, we knew that they could score. We saw what the Homestead Spartans were able to do against the Snyder Panthers last week. But then I think this game tonight kind of speaks to Carroll's defense that has been stepping up throughout the season. I mean, you look at the score, or you look at the, how many points their opponents have scored throughout the season so far, and you see 85, and you're saying, oh, maybe that's about 13 points a game. But Carroll's win last week, they hold Southside to 6 points, and tonight they shut out a fantastic offense, or at least from what we've seen so far, in the Homestead Spartans. So you've got 6 last week and 0 this week. This is a Carroll defense that's continuing to get better and better as the weeks go by.
Yeah, and I mean, they've been good all along, and I think we've seen that all this year too. Obviously, when you play Center Grove and Hamilton Southeastern right off the bat, you're going to take your lumps. And realistically, when we talked with head coach Doug Dinan from Carroll at High School Media Day, and we asked him about the schedule, he said, look, we may come out with 2 losses, two lopsided losses at that. But it was respectable in the end. I mean, he's saying this before. We may come out with 2 losses, but what does that mean for us long term? And don't write us off. And I think what not only the air attack of Carroll, but the defense and what they were able to do. We saw it a couple weeks ago when the Midwest Box Breaks game of the week was there for the Dwenger Carroll game. It was a 9-6 finish. So it was a field goal fest. We saw record-setting field goals, 52-yarder from the Dwenger kicker, but ultimately it was a defensive clinic too, because it was a lot of, and there again tonight, just what they were able to do to bottleneck Homestead and their high attack. We see week after week what Carter Kennedy, the wide receiver, is able to do, and Logan Frieden, the quarterback, to completely shut that down and keep them off the scoreboard in a game of that magnitude with so much on the line, and then put 49 points on top of it. A strong showing across the board for the Carroll Chargers.
No question about it. I've got one more final that has come across my desk here. It's independent action here in the 260. The Blackhawk Christian Braves. How about this? They shut out Irvington Prep, who came in tonight
kidding.
by a score of 66-0 for Blackhawk Christian.
That is, I mean, without looking, that is the biggest win in the history of Blackhawk Christian, because they've only had 3 in the history of the school prior to tonight, now up to 4. And I mean, shutting out teams, I don't know if they've ever done that. I have to go back and look. I'll pull that up here. They've never shut out a team, and they've never scored 66. So a record-setting night for your Blackhawk Christian Braves. The basketball school comes through tonight. Congratulations to them. Bryce Bennett, a great coach, by the way. Crazy thing with Adam about Blackhawk Christian was probably 3 years ago now. 4 years ago, because this is the 3rd year for Bryce Bennett at the 8-man. They started the 8-man team, and it was like, okay, Blackhawk Christian's going to do football? Like, are we serious? Like, what's it going to, like, and they started an 8-man team, and they won the mythical 8-man state championship. And then they moved after 1 year to the 11-man IHSA level, and it's been a tough go. They've taken their lumps. There's 2-5 this year. In fact, I'm not sure they've won. Oh, yeah, they've won. This is their first time winning multiple games in a season, too. So all across the board, a banner night for Blackhawk Christian. You need those types of games. Like, look, let's face it. They've lost 42-6 this year and 49-6, and they've lost 66-0, those type of games. But to be on the winning side of it, it feels good, keeps things going, and they were able to do that tonight. Irvington Prep down in the Indianapolis area, down there, and here was a team. They're 1-5 now, 2nd year having with their head coach. But anyway, so good night for Blackhawk Christian. Always worth mentioning a Blackhawk Christian football win, because it hasn't happened a lot so far, and it hasn't happened quite like it. I'm telling you, what is about tonight? This is the first time me doing the post-game show, filling in, and Northrop beats Snyder, and Blackhawk Christian football wins. Like,
I'll tell you what.
There's going to be a bunch of schools telling me to come back. We'll have to see the rest of the scoreboard here.
Yeah, anytime a school wants a big win, they just have to. I guess they just have to call you and say, "Hey, we need you on post game, dude," because, like you said, that is a fantastic win for the Blackhawk Christian.
They'll be like, "Oh, you're a homer for Northrop." I got news for you.
Oh, we love those Northrop Bruins, but like you said, huge win for the Braves tonight, and I'm guessing that was a fantastic atmosphere out at Blackhawk Christian, a lot of fun, and like you said, I don't care who they beat. This is they beat a program who was in a similar position to they were, just a year or 2 ago. So these are the kind of games that you have to win, and like you said, it's incremental steps. This is one of those games that'll get more interest in the program, maybe get a couple of other athletes in other sports to want to join next year, all that good stuff. So yeah, like you said, huge win for the Blackhawk Christian Braves.
Chip Bennett seeing 4 touchdowns in the first half.
Wow.
Blackhawk Christian led 52-0. That's Bryce's son. So the Bennetts are cooking tonight, and that was a big win for them. Congrats to them. Always nice to hear good things happening with their program that's just 3 years old, and takes a lot of work to get a high school football program running at a school like Blackhawk Christian that only has what 200 kids in the school or something like that. So
Yeah.
it's going to be hard. And but they've put in a lot of work down there, and it paid off tonight.
No question. It's worth noting that the team they played, Irvington, has a student population of almost 1,000. So there you
Okay.
go. There you go. I can tell you we have two games that have either yet to go final or have yet to have the final score reported. I can tell you that New Haven is leading Belmont 38-14 in the fourth. And looking for any updates on Fairfield and Garrett. So if you have any updates on the Fairfield Garrett game, I'm seeing somebody on social media asking if the game is possibly in overtime, but again, we are not sure. So if you want to leave a message either on our YouTube or Facebook, that's at youtube.com/1380thefan, facebook.com/1380thefan, or shoot us a text on our text line at 260-447-8500. That will bring us up to our next commercial break. We'll have another look at your H&K Chevrolet of New Haven scoreboard, continue to talk about some of these games from tonight, some standings for each of the conferences. We'll look ahead to next week's schedule, and we'll have a lot more fun here on the Kester's Postgame Show, powered by Pizza Hut, right here on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Kester.
Off in the SAC. It was rivalry week in the SAC. Always a fun week when these two teams from the SAC get to play their longtime rivals. And the first rivalry I always think of when I think of the SAC is Concordia at Wayne. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think of that one first.
Biggest one.
As Brett says, they always put those two schools together because everybody else already has their rival. But starting off an SAC rivalry week for your H&K Chevrolet of New Haven High School football scoreboard, it was Concordia getting a 1-point win over Wayne, 21-20. Bishop Dwenger got the win over Bishop Lewis tonight in the Battle of the Bishops, 27-7. In the totem pole battle, it was Northside over Southside tonight, 28-13. At the Battle of Spooler Stadium, it was Snyder falling to Northrop. Northrop getting their first win since the 1990s over Snyder in the regular season by a score of 35-14. And in our Midwest Box Breaks High School football game of the week, which you heard right here on 1380 The Fan, thanks in part to our good friend John Nolan. Want to give him a shout out. We'll get to more of that later, but it was Carroll over Homestead by a score of 49-0, a huge shutout for the Carroll Chargers. Moving on to the Northeast 8 Conference tonight, it was East Noble over Columbia City. East Noble continues their dominance, winning over Columbia City 41-10. It was Leo surviving Huntington North tonight, 35-28. And DeKalb got the win over Norwell, shutting out the Knights 42-0. Moving on to the Allen County Athletic Conference for tonight, it was Adams Central trying to keep it the Adams Central Athletic Conference with a 48-7 win over Southern Wells. Bluffton shut out Heritage tonight 35-0. South Adams over Jay County tonight 42-16. And a non-conference game, it was Prairie Heights falling to Woodland. Woodland gets the win over Prairie Heights tonight 30-6. Northeast Corner Conference, it was Andrean over Angola in a non-conference game 35-7. Churubusco got the win over Central Noble big tonight, 62-3. And with that win, Churubusco is the Northeast Corner Conference small school champion. Eastside defeated Fremont tonight, 42-13. Garrett got the win over Fairfield tonight, 21-14. And West Noble got a win over Lakeland 34-7. And with that win, West Noble is Northeast Corner Conference big school champions. And in independent action, I just mentioned it before the break, Blackhawk Christian with a big win for the Braves over Irvington Prep tonight, shutting them out 66-0. Checking in one more time on that New Haven at Belmont game, it is 38-22 New Haven with 3:45 remaining in the fourth quarter. So it's looking like a win for the Bulldogs and another unfortunate loss for Belmont, who we'll just say continues to struggle.
39 straight now for the Belmont Braves. But New Haven, credit to them. They're going to win that game. It's been tough going the last couple years at New Haven there. Vance Shear taking over that program, former quarterback for the Bulldogs, now the head coach. He's going to get another win tonight, but you got to just keep playing. And sometimes the schedule benefits you. Tonight for the New Haven Bulldogs, that's the case. Adam, we're talking the NE8 games here. New Haven, Belmont's in the NE8, but back to that Leo Huntington North game, just some stats that I got coming in here.
There was a lot of it. A lot of offense.
Yeah, Nate Foster watch. All right, dun, dun, dun.
Let's
211 yards and 3 touchdowns again tonight. So another 200-yarder night for Nathan Foster and 45-yard touchdown catch. So I think that's his first receiving touchdown of the year, if I remember correctly. So a big win. Titus Stoller, 184 yards. He had a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown. So Leo got it. A lot of offense tonight. Huntington North looked good too. Lathan James, 94 rushing yards with 2 touchdown runs and a touchdown pass. So that quarterback there, the transfer from Carroll to Huntington North, you don't see that every day, but it happened. And he had a big game for Huntington North. But the Leo Lions pull out the victory in the end. Nathan Foster, Adam, we've seen him. He's really grown as a player the last couple of years. I think he got his first Division I offer this week from Valparaiso. So the Beacons are after him. They're no longer the Crusaders at Valpo. They're the Beacon. Well, luckily Brett Rump is not here to talk about his alma mater on that. But what Nate Foster has been able to do this year, we've seen him a couple times. That ground and pound. I mean, he is a tough guy to take down, and he's been big for the Leo Lions.
No, I mean, he's been absolutely huge. And I heard you say he rushed for over 200 yards tonight. And it's just like, well, what did he have? Maybe 6 carries? Because in the last game, he had 4 attempts for 173 rushing yards. But like you said, he just continues to cement himself as one of the best
Yeah.
running backs in the area. And now he's getting the D1 offers. And I'm sure those will continue to roll in as he continues to put in exceptional performances on the turf for the Leo Lions. Just absolutely fantastic. And you mentioned that he caught a pass for a touchdown. So it's always nice when the running
Yeah.
backs get to show their hands a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, for Nate, who's not the biggest kid in the world, he plays two ways, a really kind of quiet kid. We had him on our show upon further review podcast here on 1380 The Fan 100.9 FM earlier this year. And quiet kid, a kid who, lo and behold, his mom got a new job. They lived in Michigan. They came down here, and the transfer for his mom's job when he was starting high school or 8th grade. I couldn't. And ultimately, they moved to the Leo district. And, you look at it back now, what has paid off, because he's in a great system on top of it. What Leo's been able to do the last several years and just fine tuning some things. And it's just a really good fit for him. And a really good program, because ultimately he's the kind of guy that's going to thank his offensive line too. Guys like Isaiah Kuhlman and those kind of guys that don't get the headlines, aren't stat sheet stuffers, because you're 6'4" and 350-pound lineman. That's about the only stat you get. But at the end of the day, that's a huge part of it, and a huge part of the success for Nate Foster. And it's paying dividends, because ultimately, here's a kid who's, every week coming in tonight, he was averaging 190 yards a game. So he puts up another 200 and just continues to see and gets the job done. The most important part of football, you get a W out of it. And Leo gets the big win down in Huntington tonight against the Huntington North Vikings. And while we're at it, the other Leo NE8 score, since we're talking about that, just some stats out of East Noble. Their trip to Columbia City, they beat East Noble, wins 41-10. Riley Biddle, 114 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. So 5 total touchdowns tonight for Riley Biddle. Have not seen his defensive stats yet. He plays safety for the Knights. Austin Phillips, another touchdown. So the freshman phenom continues to phenom, if that's the verb for that. And Alex Phillips, his brother, 2 touchdown catches. So a big night for East Noble to continue things on, going on the road to Columbia City and knocking off there. But also the Phillips household, lots to have fun and celebrate tonight with 4 total touchdowns, I believe, right? 3, 4.
I'm not sure.
We're going with 3. 3
right,
it is.
We'll go with 3, but no, Austin Phillips does continue to be a standout for East Noble. And I just want to point out, I don't want to, you don't like to schedule watch, but this is an East Noble team that is 7-0 and has their last 2 regular season games against New Haven and Belmont. So this could be an easily undefeated East Noble Knights team heading into the postseason.
Easily undefeated, and an opportunity to get a lot of your backups in, and a lot of the guys that are second and third stringers who go to practice every day, who work hard, who play scout team, who pretend they're New Haven and Belmont at practice, and then they get to go out under the Friday night lights in a place like Kendallville, which, that is one of the best places in all of Northeast Indiana to watch a game.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance to go up there just to see the experience, like, it doesn't even matter if East Noble's your team or not, like, just to go, because they do it right up there at East Noble. Homecoming was great. A lot of places, homecoming's not what they used to be. East Noble homecoming, we were up there. It was great. When they line the fences and the flash the car lights and the and honk the horns when they score touchdowns. And Luke Amstutz says, come on, buy a ticket and come inside the stadium. But it's a great atmosphere up there. And they keep things rolling. And Alex Stewart, second-year head coach there, it's a machine. And this is a team that gets to state a year ago, Adam. And yes, they have NE8 aspirations again, but legit in July at the PSM 7-on-7, they didn't say state champs, we want to get back there and win it, but you could tell that's a realistic goal for this team.
Absolutely. I mean, undefeated, and like you said, they're probably going to have a chance to rest some of their major guys ahead of going into the postseason in Sectional
Yeah.
19, where they do have to easily be considered the favorite. The only competition I would probably give for them currently in Sectional 19 would be Dwanger and Leo. And we saw what
Yeah.
they did against Leo. I mean, there's always the second game where, things can play out differently between those two teams, but you have to go into Sectional 19 thinking East Noble will be the favorite to come out of it.
Yeah, and I think, it's hard to beat teams twice. East Noble was able to do that a couple times last year en route to their state finals appearance. And that sectional 19 is loaded. And I think when you have Dwanger and you have East Noble and Leo and even Columbia City, which is kind
Yeah.
of a obviously they took it on the chin tonight and they have been, but they started off with 4-0 and a top 10 team in 4A. So at one time you had 3 teams in the NE8 conference in the top 10 in class 4A, and now it's 2, and Bishop Dwanger's in there as well. And so it's really cool. That's always a fun sectional to keep your eye on. Of course, there's still NE8 games to play. East Noble continues their destiny, control of their own destiny, and trying to get a big win and continue on to win another NE8 championship. But some games to be played, and Leo is right behind them and holds serve tonight with their win. So big wins across the NE8 tonight. DeKalb, another one, shutting out Norwell 42-0. Ryan Roberson and crew, they continue to build. A lot of those guys came over from East Noble's coaching staff. That winning mentality, all you got to do is win, baby. Just win, baby. And you have winners when you have guys like Ryan Roberson and those East Noble coaching staff come over, because they've won a lot of games in Kendallville. Bringing that over to Waterloo, they're already feeling it there, and that's going to be a fun team to watch. Even getting into the sectionals, another 4A team, they could do some damage because they're continuing to build in the season. I don't think we still know how good of a team DeKalb is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see once everything shapes out and we get to that sectional 19 in the postseason. But like you said, it was a good win for DeKalb tonight, shutting out Norwell 42-0. We're going to go ahead and take our next break here on our Kester's postgame show powered by Pizza Hut. Again, Dute is out at the Pizza Hut at Pine Valley up on DuPont Road if you want to stop in and say hello to him. If you're not up there but you still want to have some delicious pizza to take home, check out the Pizza Hut app, and it'll show you the Pizza Hut closest to you, and you can just put in an order on the app and find something delicious to pick up from your closest Pizza Hut and take home. Enjoy it tonight. Enjoy leftovers tomorrow while you're watching college football. And we'll mention a couple of the college football games coming up tomorrow for teams in our area a little bit later in the show. Also, we're going to continue to break down our H&K Chevrolet of New Haven High School football scoreboard. We're going to possibly talk to a winning coach from tonight, from in and around the area, from one of our games, and a whole lot more. We're going to look at a couple games from next week, and we'll have a lot more fun. That's all coming up next right here on the Kester's postgame show, powered by Pizza Hut, coming to you live on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Kester's in New Haven is
Welcome back to the Kester's High School Football Postgame Show powered by Pizza Hut, coming to you live both from the mic here at our 1380 The Fan studio, and my man Eric Dudkevich is coming to you live from the Pizza Hut at Pine Valley up on DuPont. That game that took a little bit of time between New Haven and Belmont has now gone final, with the New Haven Bulldogs getting a win over Belmont by a score of 45-22. Before we get back with my man Eric Dudkevich, I'll go ahead and give you a rundown of our scores from in and around the area on our H&K Chevrolet of New Haven High School football scoreboard for tonight, the 3rd of October. Big shout out to H&K Chevrolet of New Haven. Starting off in the SAC tonight, it was Concordia getting a win over Wayne by a score of 21-20. It was Bishop Dwenger over Bishop Lures in the Battle of the Bishops, 27-7. Northside got the win over Southside tonight in the Totem Pole battle by a score of 28-13. Northrop over Snyder in the battle for Spooler tonight by a score of 35-14 for Northrop's first regular season win over Snyder since the 90s. And in our Midwest Box Breaks High School Football Game of the Week, which you heard right here, it was a huge shutout win for the Carroll Chargers over the Homestead Spartans by a score of 49-0. The Northeast 8 Conference action tonight, it was East Noble defeating Columbia City to remain unbeaten 41-10. Leo got the win over Huntington North 35-28. New Haven over Belmont 45-22, and DeKalb shut out Norwell 42-0. Moving on to the ACAC, it was Adams Central over Southern Wells 48-7. Bluffton defeated Heritage, shutting them out 35-0. South Adams over Jay County 42-16. And a non-conference game, it was Woodland over Prairie Heights by a score of 30-6. Moving on to the Northeast Corner Conference, one more non-conference game over there. It was Andrean coming into Angola to take on the Hornets tonight, and Andrea got the win over Angola 35-7. Churubusco defeated Central Noble big tonight 62-3. With the win, Churubusco is Northeast Corner small school champions. Eastside defeated Fremont tonight 42-13. Garrett got the win over Fairfield 21-14, and West Noble defeated Lakeland 34-7. With that win, West Noble is your Northeast Corner Conference large school champions. And in independent action tonight, Blackhawk Christian shuts out Irvington Prep out of Indianapolis at Blackhawk Christian by a score of 66-0. So that's a look at our H&K Chevrolet of New Haven High School football scoreboard, dudes. And looking ahead to next week and just looking at some of these for tonight, what's on your mind?
Well, since I waxed poetically about Blackhawk Christian for like 5 minutes, like 2 segments ago, Concordia getting the win, quick shout out there. They blocked the extra point, so the final was 21-20. Wayne scores with about 3 minutes left, scores a touchdown. They blocked the extra point. Concordia does, and that's the game-winning block extra point to get Concordia their first win in 2 years. So we have got it all tonight here on the Kester's Postgame Show, powered by Pizza Hut. It's amazing, really cool games all across the area tonight. Teams getting wins, and realistically, we're talking about Blackhawk Christian, Concordia 2 years. Blackhawk biggest victory in school history by every.
Dude, I'm gonna have to cut you off here real quick.
You're good. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're good. You're just having a little bit of those microphone issues that we were having earlier.
Okay, perfect. I'll unplug and try it again.
Awesome. While he's doing that, I'll go ahead and let you know that we are still wanting to grab your comments on any of tonight's games. If you want to shout out your alma mater or your high school, if you're a high schooler listening, you can leave a comment on our YouTube stream. That's at youtube.com/1380thefan. We are also on Facebook. That's at facebook.com/1380thefan. And if you want to go ahead and text us in to the show, you can hit our text line. That's 260-447-8500. Dude, I think you're sounding good now.
Let me try it again. How's that?
Nope. You're
Nothing?
still having an issue. No, unfortunately not, my friend. We're going to continue to work on that. But while we do, we're going to continue to look at some of these games tonight from the H&K Chevrolet. Oh, I think we might have you now, dude.
How's that?
There we go.
Okay.
All right. Now, you were giving a shout-out to the Fighting Manacles, I believe.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to note, we talk, and we're having fun with it, and it's big. And, you lose 20 games in a row. It's your first, or 20 SAC games in a row, and 14 straight overall. And Blackhawk Christian, their biggest win in numbers-wise in school history. this is why these kids play these sports. Like, yes, Carroll's always going to be good, and Homestead's always going to be pretty good, and Snyder is going to beat Northrop most of the time, every time for 35 years until tonight. Think of what those kids did. Like, it's pretty cool. So, big night for those types of schools to see those kind of things happen, because that's all they're going to be talking about at Northrop. And they deserve it, because you put in the work, the victory, and you do it. So pretty cool. So, but yeah, a lot of schools being able to do stuff like that. How about Busco winning again, 62-3, dominating fashion? They'll say, too bad it was on the road. They'll be home next week. One in the NECC, the two champions get to play each other next week. Busco and West Noble. That'll be a fun game. And Busco's a great town. I don't know why they're the Churubusco Eagles and not the Churubusco Turtles, but they opened the school long before. Oh, they still haven't found the turtles, so maybe that's fine. So, but yeah, and see, that's what's cool too. Is so many schools with such long traditions, and there was a time when Northrop football was pretty good. You had Buzz Dorfler. He was the first head coach. He moved over from Central High School, which is now closed. And then Dean Dorfler took over. That's when Buzz and Dean was when our buddy Shannon Griffith was the quarterback. I mean, there was a time in the 80s where Northrop was pretty good and still struggled to beat Snyder and Dwenger and all those teams. And so it was a long stretch in there. I mean, they had some really good teams in the early 2000s. I think back that, in fact, this is the best year Northrop has had since 2003. Josh Gaines, wow, kid who went on the NFL. Charles Bailey, a state champion hurdler, was on those teams. I went to school with him at Blackhawk Middle School. He was a beast. Those guys, I think of Ryan High, a state long jump runner-up who those teams that really good players, really good teams, great track teams at Northrop too, never could beat Snyder. And so a lot of tradition and history went down tonight, and that's huge. That's huge for Quentin Bowen. That's huge for that entire program and what they've been able to do, because they have a lot of talent at Northrop. I mean, let's talk about this year's team. Quay Guilford, he's going to Ohio State. Maddox Weil has like Purdue, Michigan, Penn State, Miami of Florida offers. So big-time offers. Callison can throw the ball over the field. And their running game is coming. I think of Robert Rimbert, the fourth. Porty has been having big games lately. So they've got a lot of playmakers. They've been able to put it all together. This is the Northrop team that they've been talking about coming. It's kind of come to fruition. Now sitting at 6-1. Best start since 2003 when they started 8-1. And that's pretty cool. Matt Stinson was the head coach back then. Now at East Noble in administration, and I see him out at East Noble games sometime, and you can hear him coaching under his breath. And come on, ref, he was offsides, and you can't take the coach out of those guys. And so I think probably guys like that are probably smiling today too, because they know how much work it goes into building those types of programs, and it takes a lot. And you're the biggest school in the city, and it's hard to win at Northrop. And they've been able to win, not just Snyder, but they beat Dwenger, they beat Northside, and it's something you don't see very often out of the Northrop Bruins.
Yeah, no, and I mean this sets everything up for next week. Just looking ahead at the schedule, this sets up a matchup between two 4-1 teams now in the A division of the Summit Athletic Conference. It's going to be Northrop hosting Carroll next week.
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, the fact that at week 8 we're talking Northrop's in a big game, because this is another. I mean, but
yeah,
all the flowers aside, back to business. This is another SAC first place battle between Carroll and Northrop. And Carroll's been there. They know what they're doing. Northrop has never been there like this in a long time. And so it's a big one out at Spooler, and there are some rivalries within the rivalry. I mean, it's not really Carroll and Northrop isn't so much a rivalry, but in a lot of ways it is, because there have been players that from Northrop and Carroll that have gone back and forth to schools and all that stuff, and we see that across the board. That they're not exclusive to that happening, but a lot of those kids know each other. That's probably the best way to put it, and so it should be a fun one out there, because two high flying offenses that can throw the ball down the field. We saw what Freisinger and Van Pelt were able to do. We've seen what Callison and Quay Guilford have been able to do. I'll have to find some stats on them. I haven't pulled those up yet tonight, but they've been doing it all year long. The defensive question for Carroll, they showed up tonight big time. Northrop's defense, we know they've got some playmakers, Donald Rayleigh Jr. and some of those other guys in the secondary. How are they going to match up against that Carroll defense? It's another tall task. This Homestead and Northrop went into overtime, and Homestead beat Northrop. It's a whole nother animal coming again next week for the Northrop Bruins. This is a down year for Snyder. You take your flowers that you beat Northrop, or Northrop beat them. It's down year for Snyder, but ultimately too, it is not a down year for Carroll.
No,
and you got to get ready, locked and loaded next week for that big SAC matchup.
Yeah, I think this really it's gonna come down to Carroll's defense again, and if they're hoping they can keep to looking like a game that they had against Homestead tonight when Northrop comes into Carroll next week. But one thing Carroll can't do is let it become a shootout with Northrop Bruins, because like you just said, these are two high-powered offenses, and if Carroll finds itself having some defensive lapses, this could become a shootout, which Northrop does. I think if it does become a shootout, that would tend to favor Northrop's game more, just because we have seen some lapses on defense. But like you said, you can't get too excited with this win over Snyder. It's Snyder's in a down year. You got to be like, all right, this is a good win. Glad to get back in the win column against Snyder, but we do have to look forward to Carroll next week.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can get excited. I think you have to be, and I think it's deservedly so. But also, too, you enjoy this win, and it's back to business. And Northrop has shown that, because we talked about it a few weeks ago when they lost to Homestead and had to come back the next week and play Concordia. Is there a hangover effect? Does Northrop even know what a hangover effect is when you lose it? Because they've just never been put in that situation. So yet again, next Friday night, Northrop is kind of put in a situation that they really have never been in, or not, certainly not against Carroll, but also too, week 8, still trying to have a chance at winning the SAC, and it totally can be done. And they've been able to show that. And I think that was cool tonight. Jackson Robinson, another name for Northrop that has come on quite a bit lately in the last. And another thing that's just come out of Snyder High School tonight, Josh Hoy, alumni manager and program historian, posted, this is the first time since 1990 that Snyder has lost 3 games in a row in the same season. So a lot of history being made for different reasons across Northeast Indiana this season. But Northrop, that's got to be the headline. Northrop wins and beats Snyder. When it comes to that game, that's the headline. It can't be it's a down year for Snyder. I mean, that's part of it. But the overarching thing is that Northrop did it. And that's to be commended. So anyway, wow. So and Northrop won the SAC in 1999 too. So I mean, they've had success, but it's just not been there in this millennium.
Definitely. Good to see the resurgence of the Northrop Bruins. And we're going to go ahead and take our next break. When we come back, we'll continue talking about some area scores from tonight. We'll give you our H&K Chevrolet of New Haven High School football scoreboard again. We'll look forward to some matchups. I have a big matchup in the ACAC to preview next week when we come back from break. So we'll talk about that and maybe talk to a coach from one of the winning teams tonight. And we'll have a heck of a lot more fun as we take you up to 11 o'clock when we switch it over to Bob Lovell for Indiana Sports Talk. And he'll give you more of a rundown of the entire state of Indiana as far as high school football goes for tonight. Well, that and more is coming up. Again, we are live on YouTube at youtube.com/1380thefan, facebook.com/1380thefan. Dude, my man is out there at the Pine Valley Pizza Hut up on DuPont. If you want to stop
Got
in
my
and say
red
hello,
cup. It's
there you
not
go.
Pizza Hut without the red cups, man.
No, it is not.
Yep. So here we are. So thanks to the staff out here at Pizza Hut. Stop by, still open. It was busy. I think
yeah.
Neon Nation. I think when the game was over at halftime, Neon Nation came in here because it was packed when I arrived, and it looks like a lot of pizzas were eaten in here tonight. I imagine with the kids getting out early because it was blowout city out at Carroll.
Yep, and just like them, you too can enjoy a delicious pizza from Pizza Hut tonight. All you got to do is check out the Pizza Hut app on your phone, find the nearest location to you, place an order online on your app.
By the way,
yeah, go for it.
If anybody knows why they're called Neon Nation, I have never been able to figure out why Carroll's student section is called the Neon Nation.
From my understanding is they wear neon a lot, neon colors, but
1 week a year, it seems like they wear their neon theme. So I'm just trying to figure out what are the origins of the Neon Nation, because it's a cool name, and I know they did. But, I could tell you about the no-shirters at Snyder and Section K at Southside, but I want to figure out, Carroll fans, trivia question of the night. Why is it called Neon Nation? That was the student section out at our Midwest Box Breaks game of the week tonight. Love to hear it. Put it in the comments. Text line 447-8500.
You heard the man. Get in there. We'll go ahead and take our break, and when we come back, we'll have a lot more for you as we continue to wrap up tonight's high school football. You're listening to the Kester's High School Football Postgame Show, powered by Pizza Hut, live on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Kester's in
High School Post-Game Show, powered by Pizza Hut, coming to you live on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. I'm Adam Lundy. If you want to tune in and get the visual look at the show, we are live from our studio here at the mic, as well as my friend Eric Dudkevich out at the Pizza Hut on DuPont Road out near Pine Valley in the Pine Valley Shopping Center. He's up there. He'll be up there for another 20 minutes or so hanging out. So if you want to stop by and grab a pizza, say hello, feel free to do so. We're going to go ahead and take a next look at our H&K Chevrolet of New Haven High School football scoreboard for tonight, the 3rd of October. We're going to start off in the SAC tonight, where it was a win for Concordia over the Wayne Generals by a score of 21-20. Dwenger got the win over Bishop Luers tonight by a score of 27-7. It was Northside over Southside in the totem pole battle by a score of 28-13. Northrop got its first win over Snyder in a long time tonight in the regular season, 35-14. And in our Midwest Box Breaks High School Football Game of the Week, which you heard right here on our airwaves, it was Carroll with a dramatic shutout win over the Homestead Spartans, 49-0. Northeast 8 Conference action tonight, it was East Noble over Columbia City, 41-10. It was Leo surviving against Huntington North, 35-28. New Haven got the win over Belmont tonight, 45-22, and it was DeKalb over Norwell, 42-0. Moving on to the ACAC, it was Adams Central trying to keep it the Adams Central Athletic Conference, winning over Southern Wells 48-7. Bluffton shut out Heritage tonight 35-0. South Adams over Jay County tonight 42-16, and it was Woodland over Prairie Heights tonight by a score of 30-6 in a non-conference game. Northeast Corner Conference action tonight. Churubusco defeated Central Noble big tonight 62-3. With the win, Busco is your Northeast Corner Conference Small Schools champion. Eastside over Fremont tonight 42-13. Garrett defeated Fairfield 21-14, and it was West Noble getting the win over Lakeland 34-7. With the win, West Noble is your Northeast Corner Conference Big School champion, and there was one non-conference game in the NECC tonight. Andrean came to Angola to take on the Hornets. Andrean gets the win over Angola tonight, 35-7. And in independent action in the 2-6-0 tonight, Irvington Prep out of Indianapolis came up to play Blackhawk Christian tonight, and it was all Braves tonight. Blackhawk Christian gets the win over Irvington, 66-0. Want to jump back in with my man Eric Dudkevich here, and I already said it before the break, and I previewed it a little bit. There's a big matchup in the ACAC next week, and I'm pretty sure you know what game I'm talking about.
Yep, it's going to be the Adams Central Flying Jets and the Bluffton Tigers, and that is a big one. That will likely decide. Yeah, at this point, mathematically, I think it does decide the ACAC next week. Bluffton sitting at 6-0. 7-0.
Yep,
Man,
7.
The numbers are changing all the time. 7-0, as is Adams Central. Of course, Adams Central, your reigning state champion. And, again, two different styles of team. I think for Adams Central, you talk about it. We talk about it every week. It's been the ACAC, which is really the Allen County Athletic Conference. And there's only 2 Allen County schools in it, but there's only 6 schools in the conference total. Anyway, it's been the Adams County Athletic Conference, or Adams Central.
Adams Central, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, like I can't even tell the joke right. Jeez. Adams Central Athletic Conference for a long time, because just the way that they've dominated the ACAC has AC, and ultimately it's always been that question of who can knock them off. I mean, there was a time where South Adams before that was pretty good. We saw Woodland get all the way to state championship in 2017, and some knockdown drag out battles with Adams Central back then too. It's been Adams Central for a long time in the recent. Bluffton, they talk about South Adams. Heritage always gets in the conversation. Bluffton really has a good chance again this year. Those two teams have played together. I think it's part of it is the clash of styles, Adam, is because ultimately you have that wishbone run option, hand it off that we see out of Adams Central. Who's got the ball? Who's got the ball? But then you see that air raid, that throw it around the field offense for Bluffton. I mean, Axton Best, tremendous quarterback for Bluffton. Jamison Roach, a phenomenal quarterback for Adams Central. So, and Bluffton, what it is too, the way that they're able to score. That's going to be the question, is can they put up enough points where Adams Central can't stop them? Because it's one thing when you're playing teams that is 21, 28 points a game that they average, and then you can shut them down. Bluffton's at 42 points a game heading into tonight. And they put up 35. So that number is about, it'll be
40.3. I'll tell you right now.
40.3. There you go. And so the question always becomes, when you see numbers like that in a high flying offense, can Adams Central stop all of that? Does Bluffton have enough in the tank to surge past that? So we'll see that on Friday night. That will be quite a dandy down there at the Tiger Den. I know they call it the Tiger Den for basketball. I'm not 100% sure if they do for the football stadium, but Bluffton down there in Wells County. And what Brett Kunkel has been able to do, I mean, this is a team that won, he's in his 9th year, 62 games. Last year, 6-4. They start off, and it was kind of a down year, but a couple years back, they go 10-3. They get to regional, and that's been kind of it too. Is they play Lures, in there a couple times, and they won sectional, and then they had to play Lures, so that was the end of their season. But they've got a really good program down there, and just keep things rolling. And the quarterback play has been huge for them with Axton Best, who's looking pretty good. And there's just always Adams Central just keeps refilling, Adam. And so I think that should be interesting to see. That's definitely a big one down in the ACC. Probably a really good one, one of the top games in the area for sure all next week.
Yeah, Axton Best, he didn't have to do a whole lot tonight to get the win for the team tonight. Just 7 of 10 for 129 yards, 3 touchdowns, though. So it was good running. Efficient and some good running tonight for that team. So we'll continue to see how they do as we get.
Well, and I mean, that's a 35-0 win over Heritage, too, which Heritage, they've got the potential to put some points on the board. So that tells me it was a strong defensive effort for those Bluffton Tigers as well tonight. And so, I think for much as their offense is talked about, at the end of the day, you got to stop Adams Central too. So it will be a big challenge for Bluffton, as it is every year. And it should be a fun one to see how it all shapes out next week.
Yeah, it might be a similar situation where Adams Central does not want to get into a shootout with the likes of the Bluffton Tigers, but should be interesting.
Because a couple weeks back, what was that? Was it Heritage that was 14-7?
Yep, 14-7.
So they've been some close games, but then you see like last week, and you go, "This is going to be a close game for Adams Central," and it's 35-7 running clock against South Adams, which because Adams Central is getting their best shots from everybody in the conference.
No question.
That is always the conversation: is who's right below them that has that chance to knock them off. You're going to get your best shot from Bluffton next week, especially with Axton Best. You're going to get your best shot from Axton Best.
I had to get that in there.
And Best, Beste. But ultimately, too, that's the strength of this team. And AJ Streveler, I know we talked to Axton Best. I mean, not only that, he set the school receptions record last week, yardage record. So Axton Best is making everybody else better too. And so it's not just the Axton Best show. It's become a show across the board for Bluffton down in Wells County.
Yeah, no question. And it's also interesting, this matchup between Bluffton and Adams Central, because these are two teams that may run into each other later down the line in sectional 35 too, where with Bluffton and Adams Central. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that's another wrinkle in that too, because with Adams Central moving up and things like that. So that could play out too. And South Adams is in there too. Busco. I mean, that's sectional 35.
Yeah.
It's golly, how many? What are 8
Let's
teams?
see.
An 8-team sectional. Boy, you got your work cut out for you if you're in an 18 sectional. Don't get me started on the 4-team sectionals of basketball. This is football season. We'll go with the 8-team sectional 35. Churubusco, Bluffton, Adams Central. East Side's in there too. Those 4 teams are really strong. Manchester, Whitco, and Prairie Heights in there as well. So, we could see Adams Central Bluffton right off the bat. We could see Busco Bluffton. So there's a lot of cool. That was another sectional. I think Lures used to be part of that group as well.
Yeah, I remember that.
But and there was some dandies over the years with Busco and Lures. So, that's what's great. You want to be this time. We talk about it a lot with basketball too, but this is the type of year where you hope to be playing your best football. And I think teams like DeKalb are doing that. Northrop is showing that. I think a team like Churubusco, now winning 2 back-to-back conference titles. West Noble on the other side of that, the big school. East Side is a team to be reckoned with. We haven't talked a lot about them this year because they got off to kind of a slow start, starting 2-2, but what they've been able to do, and they're beating smaller schools in the NECC. But just looking tonight at what they were able to do, a team to be reckoned with East Side. Oh, sorry, I pulled this up. Right, I just had it. And
You're good.
Joe Richmond, their quarterback. Another big night for him. 146. Oh, that was last week's. Never mind. But there's a guy that can get it done on the ground and through the air as well. For Eastside. And Eastside, a team that beat West Noble earlier in the year. Now, that didn't count in the standings because they only count the interdivision stuff. But, that's an exciting team to watch. And, Eastside looks a lot more like the Eastside we're used to seeing the last 5 years. I mean, Laban Davis is not coming back to school and getting a 5th year of high school eligibility 3 years after he graduated. But what you're seeing from guys like Joe Richmond and Noah Dove and Jake Warsler is that style of play that we've seen that was there with Todd Mason, and has kind of picked up where it left off with Alex Brandewy. I mean, he's come in and things look good. Credit to them too. They were able to have a junior Irish football camp. We had 2 Notre Dame football players up there this summer, Drake Bowen being one of them, putting on a camp at Eastside for kids. I mean, that's huge. Like, these aren't Eastside kids, little kids going to South Bend for Notre Dame camp. Notre Dame came to Eastside. I mean that changes the whole complexion of your whole football program from 12th grade on down, throwing the alumni at it. So that's exciting for them too, because that's gonna be huge. How many football players do you have in the system that came out to the Drake Bowen and your Irish football camp? So that was really some of the summer. But Eastside a great place, and what they've been able to do year after year. They had a down year a couple years ago, but they've kind of got things back. But they're a force to be reckoned with in the NECC too, and that's what's great to see, is because we always talk about it as we inch closer to the postseason. As these championships get wrapped up, like you look at the NE8, we talk about East Noble playing Belmont and New Haven to close it out. Like, okay, that for Leo, who lost, it's okay. We've got another shot again coming up in the postseason, whether it's the first round or the sectional semis or the championship, or we play Dwanger or whatever. Like, we could still win some hardware, and that's the beauty about really all of Indiana sports, because not every state allows all of their high schools to play in the postseason. Ohio, you basically have to win your conference, maybe finish second to get in. Like, there was a long time Antwerp, which is like 25 miles from here, didn't go to the Ohio playoffs for like 15 years. And they put banners up in Ohio high schools when you make the state playoffs in football. And on the Indiana side, we've seen teams that go winless into the playoffs and win a sectional. So that's what's neat about Indiana. Of course, it's big about basketball in that regard, but football too. Like, there's a lot to be played for the teams, because Leo realistically looks at it and says, we're probably not going to win the NE8 now. There's still 4 teams that can still win the SAC. Snyder is one of those teams that go, well, we still have a chance of sectional. It is a down year, but realistically, like, there's still a lot to play for, and I think that's what's cool about it too. So, and we got a big one next week in the ACAC that will go a long way in deciding things as well.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll do one more read through of the scoreboard and wrap things up and send you off to Bob Level. You're listening to the Kester's Postgame Show, brought to you by Pizza Hut, live on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Pizza lover.
Real quick for you here, we're going to do one more rundown of our H&K Chevrolet of New Haven High School football scoreboard. I'm Adam Lundy. We're going to start off in the SAC where it was Concordia over Wayne 21-20. Bishop Dwenger got the win over Bishop Luers 27-7. It was Northside over Southside 28-13. Northrop got the win over Snyder 35-14, and it was Carroll over Homestead 49-0 in our Midwest Box Breaks High School football game of the week. In the Northeast State, it was East Noble over Columbia City 41-10. Leo got the win over Huntington North 35-28. It was New Haven over Belmont 45-22, and DeKalb over Norwell 42-0. ACAC Adams Central over Southern Wells 48-7. Bluffton over Heritage 35-0. South Adams over Jay County 42-16, and Woodland over Prairie Heights 30-6. NECC action: Andrean over Angola 35-7. Churubusco over Central Noble 62-3. Eastside defeated Fremont 42-13. Garrett over Fairfield 21-14. West Noble defeated Lakeland 34-7, and in independent action, Black Hawk Christian defeated Irvington Prep out of Indy 66-0. All right, that'll wrap it up for the high school football postgame show. Coming up tomorrow on the airwaves, you can hear the Purdue Boilermakers football team take on the 22-ranked Illinois Fighting Illini, and at 3:30, it's Boise State coming in to take on Notre Dame and the Fighting Irish. Dude, you looking forward to tomorrow's Purdue game?
Yeah, I mean, I think it should be a beautiful day in West Lafayette. Illinois comes down, a ranked Illinois team. I think, they responded. Illinois did after that loss, that thrashing by IU. They come back and beat USC. Now they travel West Lafayette. I think it's a winnable game for Purdue. Illinois very hyped. How do they come out tomorrow against a team that they're supposed to beat? Ultimately, too, Notre Dame welcoming Boise State for the first time to Notre Dame Stadium, trying to keep their momentum, trying to keep in the playoff picture. We'll see how they respond after that thrashing of Arkansas that they did last week. So 2 big games right here on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. A great day for some college football all day long here.
That'll do it. We're going to send you off to Bob Level now. You've been listening to the Kester's postgame show coming to you live on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. Have a good night, everybody.